Hi everyone, welcome! Can you believe it is 21 days into getting together to balance our energies? How are you feeling? I know from hearing from so many of you, which is so lovely by the way, that you may not have been able to be here every single day, but you've been using the recordings and trying things at different times a day, which I am so delighted about. So keep going, and I'll tell you a little bit more near the end about some options for you in the future. But for now, let's begin with the 4 thumps. So coming up below your eyes, and how are your stomach points feeling today? You may have a bit of soreness, achiness here, that's possible. I know certainly when I eat certain foods that I don't digest optimally, then I'll sometimes get an aching round here, and it gives me clues about what's happening with my stomach meridian energies. Now we're going about an inch below the middle of the collarbone. These are kidney points, and again, these points can give you indications about what could be happening with your kidney energies. You can learn over time which areas there are congestion and where the imbalances lie to focus on. Now the middle of your chest, your thymus. This exercise is one of the best things that you can do for your immune system. Likewise, spleen. We say spleen and then the triple warmer meridian as well govern the immune system. So if you're wanting to support and strengthen your immune system, then make sure you keep your spleen meridian energies strong, balanced, as harmonized as they can be. Okay, let's cross over, shall we? So if you want to stand, go for it, or you could stay seated, alternating, raising your legs. You might see what it's like if you just lift your legs up just a little bit, maybe just a few centimetres, or likewise, really bringing them up high, more aerobic, seeing how it feels different ways. And when you cross over, you do lots of things in your energies. You can improve energy levels potentially. Oftentimes crossing over energies will lift people's moods, because when people are not crossing, people can experience a low mood. That was certainly the case for me many years ago, and was part of what contributed to the depression that I experienced, was the fact that I was chronically homolateral. So crossing over can be really key in lots of ways. So bringing your crossing to a close, we go on to the shoulder pull. So another way that we cross energy, and some people really prefer this way. Certainly for anyone who's more kinesthetic and gets a lot from the hands-on touch, then you might do lots and lots of these shoulder pulls through the day. And taking a few deep breaths, noticing how you're feeling before we go on to the Wayne Cook. So now crossing one leg over the other, bringing your arms, palms facing outwards, crossing your hands, clasping your hands like so, and coming underneath. And remember that when we do the Wayne Cook exercise, it's all about untangling inner chaos. So that could be on many different levels. And a lot of the time where people feel it is emotionally and mentally a sense of calming and groundedness. So really welcoming that in as you take your breaths. And once you've done 4 or 5 breaths, switching and doing the other side. Maybe even bringing in a little bit of affirmation. Sometimes when we do that and we change our consciousness while we balance our energies, we can get even more benefits at times. So, for example, you might bring in a thought in your head, or you could even say out loud, I deserve balance. You may think, it's wonderful for me to create balance in my energies. I am creating balance in my energies. Now we'll do the last part of the weighing cup. So bringing your fingers and thumbs together, resting your thumbs above your nose, taking one or more breaths here. And then resting your hands on your forehead and going over to your temples. We'll go straight into the crown pull. It follows really nicely, opening up your head all the way round the back. Going at whatever speed feels right for you. So if you've got a spot near the top that's quite sore, perhaps you'll stay there for longer. And if you've already done one pass round, coming back to the front, doing a second. Typically, we would suggest doing at least one good crown pull each day. It's a real core exercise. And it's so important for energy to have space to move around the body. The crown pull is one of the main ways we make space. So I certainly recommend doing this at least once a day. It will be good to relieve any sort of tension. It can be good to help with headaches, all the meridian energy pathways around here. And it can help improve memory, sharpen your mind when you've got more space here. And it will help people to think clearer because there's more space for energy to flow so your brain can function better. So that's one of the reasons why I'd always suggest doing the daily energy routine before you do anything where you need to apply your mind or even apply your body. If you're going to run or do some sports, do the daily routine first. If you're going into a business meeting or you have a project, something to write up, do the daily routine first. Your mind will function better. Everything will function better. And maybe you can feel a difference at your head right now. We're going to do a zip-up exercise next. So this is about protecting yourself from outside energies. It can also be a confidence boost. This is coming all the way up, just like zipping up a jumper in front of you. And you could even visualize a zip there. Sometimes bringing in visuals can amplify what you're doing, make the effects even stronger. So if you feel like you pick up energies in different places, which at times people will share with me, that will resonate with them, then one of the things you really want to do is keep yourself zipped up as much as possible, particularly if you're around other people or going into a busier environment. So let's go one last time up the midline, and when you get to your mouth, turning your hands, locking in that zip up, and we're going to do a hook up next. So using your middle fingers on your third eye, also your belly button. Remember, you could do above the belly button if you want to do that. And getting some pressure at both locations, pushing in and pulling up a little bit. As you're holding here, you may notice a sensation of centering and grounding. You may just feel more solid inside in some way, more rooted down to the earth. This exercise can be at times really helpful when a person is feeling dizzy or faint. If you're feeling a bit disoriented, if you've had some upsetting news or a bit of a shock, and it can feel a bit like spinning out sometimes and that our energies are pulled in many directions. So the hookup is one of the exercises that have the possibility of reversing that feeling. In other words, bringing you back to more groundedness, to more ease. And it does depend on the person and the energies in the moment. But I've certainly had times where I felt a bit dizzy, felt ungrounded for sure, done a hookup, perhaps held it for longer than we'll hold it now. And it has been the best thing ever to return me to feeling calm inside. So let's release that hookup, because holding it in a seated or standing position, your arms might get a bit tired. Smoothing down your arms as well, perhaps coming to the top of your head and smoothing down, shaking off any excess energy. Now we're going to do connecting heaven and earth, which, as well as the crown pull, opening up the crown, connecting heaven and earth is the other main way that we really open up flow around the body. And in particular, it's excellent for the joints. Also good for your spleen meridian, so therefore good for the immune system. So to start connecting heaven and earth, we begin in a prayerful position. And then do go at your own pace and listen to your body. You might want to stay less or more time in the stretch. Breathing in, and you have a palm up and a palm down, holding that stretch just as long as you would like, and then coming back to the middle as you breathe out, and doing the same thing on the other side. And seeing if you feel the same on this side. You might want to do something different on different sides of your body. And then a second stretch on each side. And then on that final out breath, bending forwards, letting your arms hang like a rag doll. Perhaps bringing your attention to some of your joints as you take some breaths, noticing down your arms, at your elbows and wrists. What does it feel like when you're in this position? Also down your legs, with your hips, knees, ankles. And when you're ready, beginning to sway and make figure eights with your arms and coming back up. Adding in some extra figure eights. And figure eights, of course, being one of the most beneficial energy flows that you can bring in to balance all sorts of things in your energies. And remember that your aura, this field of energy around you, has 7 layers in it. So above all, I advise you, tune in with yourself, see what feels right to you, and follow what feels good. And whatever rates you're doing, no matter whether they're large or small, slow or fast, and wherever you're doing them in your aura all around you, you'll be bringing in the balance that comes with these lovely eights. But I also encourage you to be mindful of the 7 layers of your aura and wanting to keep yourself as balanced as possible, as protected as possible from outside energies. So by all means, you might sometimes think, okay, I'm going to go through my 7 layers, perhaps starting close to your body, doing figure eights, and then slowly moving out. You don't need to know exactly where all the layers are. They essentially go from 1 to 7 going out. So moving through. You could also see, how does it feel? You may wish to try it now, to come in and out like so through the layers. This is also a way that you can build an energetic bridge and build more harmony for yourself between yourself and another person. So I think it may have been yesterday or one of the days where we talked about figurating the environment, the space around you. You can also use figure eights between yourself and another person. So perhaps now, if you'd like, bringing someone to mind who you'd like to create a bit more harmony between the two of you, for whatever reason, and then just imagining that person, whoever it may be, and doing figure eights, visualizing and sensing that you are figurating between yourself and that other person. Taking a few deep breaths. And you can do this, of course, with the person physically present, but just as we are now, you can do it through your intention and visualization. All right, so now let's do the Celtic Weave exercise. So that's the one where we begin rubbing hands together, shaking them off, rubbing them together, building up some fresh energy now, and opening up your hands, bringing that fresh energy to your head, taking a breath here or more. Notice how it feels at your head to have this fresh energy here. Do you like it? Perhaps it feels soothing in some way. And next time you breathe in, bringing your arms together and crossing your arms, breathing out, coming out to the side, doing the same thing in front of your waist. And your upper legs, going down the body, doing in front of the ankles if it's comfortable to reach, or just going where it's comfortable. And then when you come back up, rolling in this circular movement to fluff up your aura, encouraging it to be as tightly weaved as possible, as well as expanded out so that you have this wonderful field of protective energy around you. And not only is it a protective field, creating boundaries energetically, it also supports communication as well. So what that means is communication between your other energy systems. So your meridian pathways, your chakras, the Celtic Weave, all the 9 energy systems will function better when the aura is more stable. And the aura will communicate inside, inwards, at the other energy systems and communicates out like an antenna. And it's checking out what's going on in the world around you and making assessments about things, about what perhaps to let in or not let in. And there's an interaction between your field and all the fields around you of other people and places. So the more that you fluff your aura, the more you do figure eights, bring in the Celtic Weave exercise, you'll make your aura really, really, really robust and strong. Okay, so allowing your arms to hang. Perhaps bringing your hands to rest somewhere around your upper legs, wherever they naturally go, just touching on your legs. This can really help your energies to stabilize. So if that aura work felt perhaps good to you, or sometimes doing energy exercises, it make people feel different and you can't quite put it into words, but it might feel a sense of, yeah, something's changed and I think maybe that was a bit new and different. So if that is ever the case for you, I really encourage you to take at least a few seconds, if not half a minute or a minute or so, to allow your energies to stabilize, to allow for integration to take place. And one of the simplest things that's very easy and very effective to do is just what we're doing now, just holding on your legs. Let's do another quick hookup. I'm mindful of the time, however. The hookup is great for stabilisation. So you could do a classic hookup in the belly button and third eye if you like. Or if you want to, try the power point and tailbone. Just staying here just for a few breaths. And the hookup is certainly an exercise, one of the top ones that's excellent for stabilising. So just as you hold here and take a few breaths now, can you notice anything in your energies and in your body that tells you, yes, things are settling and stabilising? And now relaxing out of that hookup, we'll go to the radiant circuit. So belt flow is the one we're starting with. You certainly can do the radiant circuits in different orders, or you might just pick one or two and focus on those. Remembering belt flow not only brings in feelings of peace and joy, but it also tends to be very grounding. So if you're looking to connect yourself to the upper realms, to divine energy above, wisdom, inspiration, then the radiant circuits are very good for that. But if you also at the same time want to really encourage grounding, then do the belt flow, do more of belt. Now penetrating flow. So starting in the small of your back, taking a breath in. When you breathe out, lowering down over your tailbone, and then breathing in again, and we do a horseshoe around the hips. Breathing out, you're coming to your pubic bone, and then coming up the midline on the next in-breath, all the way to your mouth, breathing out here, and tracing figure eights. On some of the other sessions in this challenge, I've shared with you about how penetrating flow allows you to discern more and to take things in or not take things in. So that you can take in, for example, the beauty of a waterfall or the beach, and so that you won't take in anything that's not for your highest good, anything unpleasant. And for me, a classic example is things on television where sometimes there's a bit of violence or something like that. So I think that's just a common thing that we face a lot. And many years ago, I became aware of actually how that was really affecting my energies, watching things like that. So yes, you want to boost penetrating flow, make it harmonise for these reasons, but also know that penetrating flow has other roles. One of the main ones is its relationship with the sex organs, with the ovaries and all the things down there for men and women. So if you have issues in this area, any certainly women's issues, women's health down below, then consider penetrating flow as potentially one of the energy flows you might work more with. Now we'll do the bridge flows. So the Yin bridge starts at the top of the back of your neck, then smoothing over your head, coming through the bridge of the nose onto your cheekbones, then coming to tap at the kidney points below the collarbone, and now tracing 3 hearts over your chest. Then resting your hands flat and smoothing, so coming all the way down the fronts of your legs and off your feet. Then Yang Regulator, making horizontal figure eights next. Remember, with all of these exercises, you can modify the speed. There are other modifications you might make as well. So some days you might like to go like so. Some days it might be more like you're wandering. So now, having built up a nice column in front of you, either turning round to receive those at the back, or you could visualize those figure eights behind you, taking 1 or 2 breaths. And then when you're ready, we're going on to connecting the yin and yang bridge from the front to the back. And as we're moving through the exercises, doing your best to stay present, noticing what you're feeling, it's possible at any moment you might feel a change. And I've certainly had probably hundreds of times by this point, moments where I've done an exercise in a particular way at a particular time, and I've been surprised that felt really good. And so often they are big lessons that have served me so well beyond that point, because I've learned so much more about what I need. So I do encourage you and invite you to stay present as best you can, and noticing. Then not only will you build a wonderful large toolkit full of energy exercises, so you've got this toolkit, ways to help yourself, but you'll also feel really adept and empowered with your toolkit. You'll know, yes, this is the tool I need at different times. Certainly with the radiant circuits as a generalisation, if you are feeling flat emotionally, if you're feeling low, disconnected, unmotivated, then I would highly recommend trace your radiant circuits. It definitely could make a big difference. Maybe trace them 2 or 3 times, or if you're having a bit of a rough patch, which for most of us I think we do in life, maybe a few weeks where you're just really not feeling good at all for one reason or another, then perhaps you might trace them in the morning, mid-afternoon, and then in the evening again. And it does have the potential to make all the difference in the world. We're going to trace the regulator flows. So for Yin Regulator, beginning with a heart over your face, coming down over your neck, and then smoothing down the opposite arms and all the way down the front of your body. Now Yang Regulator, smoothing round both of your ears, smoothing down the outsides of your arms, and then the back of your body. All the way down the backs of the legs and off the sides of the feet. And taking a breath and noticing how are you feeling now. Then resting a hand on your lower belly, placing a thumb inside your belly button if that's comfortable. Resting your other hand somewhere at your neck. Yesterday I did this one like this, which sometimes I think is an odd sensation because it's like wrapping your hand around your neck. And that would not be preferable for some people. But I found myself yesterday evening like this for about 5 or 7 minutes, something like that. It felt so wonderful to really cradle my neck like so. But you also might just lightly touch. There's a lot of variation here of what will work well. So holding here for a few minutes, beginning to really deepen the balance in your vagus nerve, perhaps creating a new habit there in your vagus nerve energies. And in a moment, I will be so honoured once again to share some light language to support your integration. Before that, I just want to give you a very quick heads up to keep an eye on your emails, or if you are not on my mailing list, please do get in touch with me. I'd be delighted to welcome you there. And I don't send out lots and lots of emails all the time. Sometimes it might be many weeks and you won't hear from me, but you can get in touch with me always. And mostly what I send out is different tips and ideas, sometimes a little bit of theory about things like Chinese medicine so that you can learn, gain knowledge. And also details of any offers that I might have for products like crystals, for example, to balance your energies, private sessions, of course, and other groups and workshops. And I specifically wanted to mention a few groups I'm very excited about. And so in the next month, I'll be starting a new group. It's a free group and it's called Ask Me Anything. And it's designed to be what it says on the tin. You ask me anything. So I have no idea what topics will come up. It will be dependent on who turns up. And I have no doubt that the right people will turn up. It will be the most perfect group that the universe needs to come together. And we will discuss some really fabulous things and we'll balance our energies at the same time. And I do have other free groups as well, usually once or twice a week. And if you're interested in things like the aura, the chakras, or more deeper balancing of different areas, I have some other workshops coming up too. So all that information will be going out by email in the next week, or you can get in touch with me, certainly with any questions. I'm always so delighted to answer questions. All right, so a little bit of light language before we say bye-bye for now. Umana si kota tua ka si osana tua si ona se siakati o kanya si asala tua si oke akakaka ushaya ito kakakaka aya tua asana iyokasha aya udata usaya usaana isoke aya okana ukakaka aya ua ase iyokakaka ushana. Notice how you're feeling and take some deep breaths. Opening your eyes if they're closed. Let's pick some sacred rebel wisdom from the oracle cards. Okay, I think we may have had this one on a different day. I was very drawn, pulling me into this one. Seeing the true you. Taking a few moments to gaze at the picture, seeing what you notice there. And taking this message through the day with you, taking what resonates, seeing the true you. Okay, so my deepest gratitude to you. Thank you so much for joining. We have done 21 days or whatever you could manage. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Do email me with questions. I really want to help. You know, if you've got anything about your personal situation, come to the Ask Me Anything group and take really good care. See you again.